Hello friends, Christian here with Brick Life Crisis again. Today we're taking a look at a new LEGO Star Wars set. This would formerly have been known as the Juniors line, but now they call it 4+. This set is designed for younger builders, therefore there are no stickers, so any decorated pieces you see are prints. The set includes 62 pieces, including 2 minifigures. This is the Rebel A-Wing Starfighter. Let's go ahead and open it up and take a look. In addition to being a little bit of a simpler build, there are also much larger pieces, as you can see here, that allow for a simpler build. This is not really for more advanced builders, unless you happen to be a big collector of Star Wars. But if you have younger builders or people who are new to LEGO, or somebody that just wants a fairly simple build, this might be a good choice. But let's go ahead and crack it open and build it and see what you think. So inside the box we have a non-folded manual, which is kind of a nice surprise. We have a couple of bags of parts, and then a very large piece for the main part of the body and wing, or wings, of the A-Wing Starfighter. So this is a rather large piece, but again, this is designed for younger builders, and this makes things a lot easier for them. Alright, so here we have it, set 75247, the Rebel A-Wing Starfighter. Again, this is a 4+ set, so the build was pretty simple. Well, let's go ahead and take a closer look at each of these components. So there are 2 figures included with this set. We have an A-Wing pilot and C-3PO. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at each one of these, starting with C-3PO. So here we have everyone's favorite protocol droid, C-3PO. There's nothing terribly unique about this figure that I can see. It is a pretty good print on the torso and the legs, and then his eyes are printed on there as well in yellow. It's a little tough to make out on the camera, but that print is really nicely done, very similar to what we've seen before, and that print continues around the back. Otherwise, he's just a gold protocol droid, and that is a custom molded head, of course, for C-3PO, and it's done very well. And next up we have the A-Wing pilot. This figure is the same as the one that came with the most recent version of the A-Wing. I'll put the set number up there because I don't recall it off the top of my head. But it's a pretty good looking figure. He's got a really nice print on the torso, waist, and legs. He comes with a light blaster sidearm and a really nice helmet. It's a cool sculpt and has a lot of nice detail on it. There's no alternate face for this guy, but the face that he does have is appropriate. Good looking figure, but nothing new here either. There have been a couple of other A-Wing pilots released in the past. The one on the right was a collectible figure that came in a poly bag by himself. That is very different, as you can see, a completely different head mold, or helmet mold rather. Comes with the same sidearm, of course, and different printing, just altogether different coloring, and with that red. And then the other one is the guy that came, or the woman rather, that came with the Darth Vader's TIE Fighter versus A-Wing set. That is the same helmet mold, but different coloring on that one. And she has a secondary face as well. But the print on the torso is similar. There's a little more detail on the new one. But of course she does not have any print on her waist or legs, and she has a different sidearm. The one that came in the poly bag is completely different. Different printing, different coloring, different helmet. This one also has an additional face. There's one with the mask down, and then one more standard type face. And again, this print is very different with no print on the waist or legs. And here we have the A-Wing itself. As I mentioned before, any decoration that you see is all print, so that's kind of nice. There are some nice pieces here. Like I said, these prints, these winglet pieces are, we've seen them before, but they're pretty good. We have a couple of rather large engine pieces there. These gun emplacements are single pieces. The cockpit is a nice clear piece, and there is a printed console there in the middle. The room for just one figure, as you can see. This back end piece is kind of a new brick as far as I know. It's this red, let me take off the grill piece here, and it's just got some sloping. This might be nice for a piece of a vehicle or something. It almost looks like, in this case right here, it looks like a barbecue or something to me. but it's a piece that I'm not terribly familiar with, so that was new. And then, of course, like I mentioned, this rather large chassis piece is a new one for me as well. These pieces could be useful in mocks and things like that. The build was very simple, just as you'd expect, but I think it's a fairly good representation of the A-Wing overall. Okay, for the sake of comparison, here we have the two most recent A-Wings along with the new 4 Plus set. The green one back here is from the Darth Vader's TIE Fighter versus A-Wing set, and that is based on the Star Wars Rebels version of the A-Wing, so it looks a little bit different cosmetically. This one back here is the original trilogy version that you would probably recognize from Return of the Jedi, and that's what I believe this one is supposed to be based off of. As you can see, this new Juniors one, or 4 Plus one, has this bright red color rather than the more maroon, and it's substantially smaller, of course, and it's a much simpler build, as I said. One thing about this that I don't particularly care for is this big gap here on either side. I understood that they had to do that, whereas with these, you have these nice sleek pieces that are much more accurate, and they fill in, but they apparently don't have a piece small enough to do that here. So it's not a bad compromise, considering that the audience for this is, kids, under 10. So in any event, that is the A-Wing in comparison to the two most recent A-Wings that came out before it. And I like what they've done here. This is a small secondary build, very small actually, just a couple of pieces, but this is supposed to be just a little piece of the terrain from Yavin 4 from A New Hope. As you can see, we have a couple of tools here. There's a couple of batons for directing ships, and then just a little piece of the wall from the temple with some foliage there. It's a very simple build. This entire triangle here is one large piece. There's a 1x2 with bricks on, or studs on the side at the top there, and that's how you attach the little foliage piece. You have the barrier, and then this is a printed stripe piece down here, and then we have this half-round base plate. So a very simple build, but it's effective, and I like that they've done that just to add a little bit of color and a little bit extra play factor to the whole thing. So this set retails for about $10. I picked it up at Walmart for a little bit less than that. It consists of 62 pieces, so the price to part ratio is not great. However, when you consider that these are all prints, and there are some rather large and unique pieces like that chassis piece, that large triangular piece, the large engine modules, those big wing pieces at the back, canopy, all that stuff, it kind of comes into play. It's not terrible in comparison to other Juniors or 4 Plus sets. Overall, it's not a terrible value, it's not a great value. If you can find this thing on sale, even better. But if you have younger people that are interested in building some Star Wars sets and the larger ones are just too complicated, this isn't a bad option. Alright, that about does it for today. This has been Christian with Brick Life Crisis, taking a look at set number 75247. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave us a like. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those below. And as always, until next time, may the Force be with you. Bye for now.